Matt, I guess you don't fit most people's stereotype of what a Parkinson's patient looks like.
Basically, I was a young boy at 7 or 8 years old, and my headmaster noticed that I couldn't stand still in assembly. Every time we all had to stand up in assembly, and I just kept on tumbling backwards. Yeah. And I think initially they thought, oh, this is a kid, he's just being naughty. Yeah. But it kept on happening again and again, and it wasn't just at assembly, it was when I was out playing with my friends and my balance was poor.
I mean, for your parents it must be very worrying, because you don't expect your child to be unwell in any respect, but to have a potential diagnosis of Parkinson's must have been quite frightening for your parents, I guess.
As a parent myself now, I realise how frightening it must have been for them. But at the time you don't realise, because as a kid things happen. And at that age, I didn't know what was happening to me.
Was there a chance to talk to other people? I mean, I guess there weren't that many other people in your position.
No,
but, you know,
in the early days, there was nobody. There was nobody you could talk to. I mean, I didn't even know anybody else who had Parkinson's disease, let alone anybody similar age to myself. It's only been in the last, I would say, about 10 years or so, where I've really come into contact with people with Parkinson's. And it's helped me tremendously to understand what other people are going through.
Are people frightened to talk to you or say good morning, or if they think you're drunk or something, or you know, how do you manage all of that kind of thing then?
I think I think I mentioned before, I get my retaliation in first. I am very confident in saying, it's okay, I've got Parkinson's, you know, don't worry about me. If I can sense that anybody's slightly worried about even saying hello, but I make a big thing about saying hello to people first and sort of breaking the ice, if you like. And say, for example, if children look at me and say, it's okay, I've got Parkinson's, and they'll then relay that to me. The story I usually use is The Wizard of Oz. I said, have you ever seen the film The Wizard of Oz? And the kids will go, yeah, we've seen that, yeah. Well, you know the Tin Man? And they go, yeah. Well, I'm a bit like him, because when my tablets don't work, I freeze up. When he gets a bit of oil and he's dancing again, that's just the way I am. And they go, oh right, okay. And and then they just toddle off, and it doesn't bother them at all.
I guess social media has played a huge part in people being able to share. So Facebook, all of the things. Parkinson's UK has been a great resource, I think. Could you tell us a bit about your relationship with Parkinson's UK as a support resource?
Yeah, Parkinson's UK have been very helpful to me over the years in communicating things that are going on, in enabling me to take part in media campaigns, to get over to try and show people that there are younger people with Parkinson's disease, and it's not necessarily a disease that's a lot of older people might have.
You're a very positive guy and you do lots of stuff. Just tell us about the stuff that you do that perhaps might surprise people, you know, and also inspire people, I suspect.
Well, I mean, things I've done in the past. I was an official accredited photographer at the 2012 London Olympics. I was a football photographer. I mean, I had my ups and downs, and I've had my fallings over, and I dropped my camera and all sorts. But tremendous experience. But I really do enjoy my photography, and I try and get out as much as I can. There are limits, of course, and it is frustrating, but there's so much you can do.
Is there anything else that could be done better to help you or to help other people through this process? It's listen to the patients. I think listening to patients is absolutely crucial, because Parkinson's can be so different in each individual that you have to listen to each individual. It's not one thing will fix everything. You know, you have to listen to what people are saying, and I think certainly from my experience and the experience I've heard from other people, that doesn't always happen. If you get the patients involved and get them to actually say physically to you how they're feeling and what's happening, that's crucial, and that's not enough of that is done, I don't feel. But there's been a number of false dawns with the NHS trying to share patient information, anonymized information, so nobody's personal details, but trying to share information to produce a better result, if you will, for patients, for payers, the taxpayers, for everybody really. But there's huge concern, quite rightly, about information in public domain, or not public domain, but being shared. I mean, I'm going to say a person with Parkinson's disease. What would you feel about? Well, how do you feel about that? I mean, do you think that's a legitimate concern? Do you think it would be positive to be a little bit more open if it's going to help people with all the protections that need to be in place?
I think certainly giving the information out, providing it's got the consent of the patient themselves, I think is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You can't get better than something from the horse's mouth, and the more they can do that, the better. And whether it's used correctly is something that's got to be decided between the patient and the person who's using the information. But the more that people can share, the better, I feel. I mean, I'm quite happy to share my story to whoever wants it, because if it helps just one person, then I've done something that's positive, and something positive's come out of it. It's it might not be everybody's ideal having their personal medical health shared with all and sundry, but I've got nothing to hide, and nothing that's happened to me am I too ashamed of to share with anybody. So if it's going to help them, so.